Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic global gaming league video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
When you're planning a remodeling project, you hear a lot of promises from companies. The better question is, what are real clients saying after the work is finished? Mosby Building Arts has earned hundreds of 5-star online reviews from homeowners across St. Louis. Homeowners who say things like, Mosby far exceeded our expectations. The follow-through is impeccable. Others write, for the first time, something actually got finished and was done right. One client admitted they started out skeptical and ended by saying Mosby was everything they said they were. And when a project got complicated, it was a custom job within a custom job, and they were up for the task when others could not get us what we wanted. That's not advertising copy. That's homeowner experience. Clear communication, respect for your home, craftsmanship that delivers, and happy clients. If you're considering a home renovation, inside or out, start with the company homeowners consistently rate 5 stars. Visit callmosby.com and discover what 5-star remodeling really means.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I am Jacob Milham, and I have a smile beaming across my face, not just because it is opening day week, but also because I have Jeremy Greco opposite for me for today's episode. Jeremy, how we feeling, man?
I mean, we made it through spring training, right?
We did.
I inexplicably thought that the Royals played exhibition games Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's Monday and Tuesday.
Yes, that it is.
But yeah, opening day week, Friday. The
Yeah,
next
thank
time
goodness.
you hear our voices will be the day.
Yeah, that it will. And we're recording that episode Thursday evening, so we'll have some results from, opening night. We could talk about that if we want to. But most importantly, we will
have Netflix subscriptions, Jacob?
I do have a Netflix subscription.
My family has one, so I'll bum off
There you
on
go.
them.
See, so we'll be just fine. But we can talk about that a little bit. But most importantly, we will have some key Royals predictions. We'll sit down, look at some of the major benchmarks that we want to predict regarding the Royals. Plus, we will have some predictions of our own to talk about. Before we get into that, those predictions, if you have your own and you want us to shout it out on the podcast, drop us a line, comment on this episode.
We're doing bold predictions next episode. Like, so I want to. These are predictions that I want people to look at and go, I don't know about that. So give us your bold projections.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was going through that effectively wild ballot.
Yeah, that was when I was like, okay, that's what a bold projection looks like when I was looking for that. Because some of those, I'm like, y'all know.
Like, one of them 4 AL East teams will make the postseason.
Yeah, that's bold.
That is a bold. Let's see here. What was another one that really? Some of them were really specific, like very, very minutia.
I should have pulled them up, but they're why. There was one, I swear, and maybe I imagined this, that was Maikel Garcia would lead the Royals in FWAR, and I said that's a 0% chance, baby.
Well, I gave it a 20. There is a road there, but things like that we will be talking about on the next episode. Right now, we do need to talk about some things on the Royals front. We'll talk about the rotation a little bit, close the book at least on spring training, and look forward to opening day. Plus, I've got a game. We're going to try and play it later on in the episode. Before we get into all that, just a reminder, go bookmark royalsreview.com so you never miss a new article on the website. You also got the rumblings every single morning. That's the spot to go and just chat with other Royals fans. It doesn't have to be about the ball club. There's actually a really good rumblings community. Like, some folks have been commenting there for years, and they stick around and just talk about life. So go check it out. See if it's your taste. If not, that is A-okay. You can just follow us on social media for all of the latest updates on the Kansas City Royals. All right, Jeremy. So the rotation. Right now, rotation feels all but set.
We don't have set. They announced it.
Oh my goodness! Yes, they did. I am so sorry.
Come on, Jacob, wake up.
Yeah,
Sunday afternoon. You've been napping, I'm sure. Come on now.
No, I kind of truth be told, I've kind of melted my brain a little bit because over a pitcher list, I did like the day 3 recap of the spring breakout game. So I've just been going through, 10 different teams' as prospect system. So my brain's a little mushy from that, truth be
I
told.
bet.
But yeah, so it was, first off, not a huge surprise on who was in the rotation. Kind of what we really expected. Noah Cameron didn't have a super strong spring, but he, what matters more, the spring results or what he did the year prior? I would argue what he did the year prior. So he gets that number 5 spot. One thing that I did want to ask you about is how do you feel about having 3 straight lefties? Because how Andy Rogers listed it out, it goes Bubic, Cameron, then goes back to the top and Cole Reagans.
Right. So to put it in the order from the top, it's Reagans, yes, Wacha, Lugo, Bubic, and then Cameron. And yeah, I thought that was interesting. I had made the point before that I don't mind having the 3 lefties in a row because I do feel like they're all 3 very different. Reagans brings the heat. Noah Cameron brings the breaking stuff, especially a big curveball. And Bubic is kind of in between them. He brings the rising fastball and the sweeper. So, he doesn't have the heat of a Reagans, but he doesn't rely on a big breaker in the same way that Cameron does. So I think they're 3 very different pitchers. That part doesn't bother me. I don't like Wacha and Lugo pitching next to each other because I do feel that they're kind of similar. They've got similar velocities. They've got Wacha's got a much better changeup, but it's not like Lugo doesn't ever throw his changeup. I mean, we talk about Lugo's curveball is probably his best pitch, but they're bringing similar repertoires other than Wacha leans harder on his changeup and Lugo leans harder on his curveball, and at similar velocities, lots of similarities actually going on there. And so that was my concern of why I wanted to keep those 2 guys separated. And when everyone was focused, and even Annie Rogers in writing her article about it focused on, well, they don't worry about the lefties being next to each other. I'm like, why aren't we worried about the righties being next to each other though?
Yeah. Yeah. And so thinking about what you said, I do want to posit it like this. I don't know which pairing I would dislike the most because in my mind, Maikel Wacha, he's done enough to earn that 2 spot in the rotation. I don't think you should take that away from him. But which is the worst pairing, Cameron and Lugo, who in my mind, I think they are very similar pitchers just from, opposite handedness, or Wacha and Lugo. Because I fully agree with your point that Lugo and Wacha, they, from a pitch arsenal standpoint and approach, very similar. They're like what's the word? They fall in the same vein is what I'm trying to say.
I'm drawing a blank.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
archetype.
And my argument would be
that's what it is.
That the handedness makes a huge difference. Ask Lane Thomas. Ask Randall Grichuk, who got a job with the Yankees this year because he could hit lefties. The handedness makes a huge difference in that case. Whereas you can just set your lineup with a bunch of lefties 2 nights in a row against Wacha and Lugo, and they're going to feel like they're facing a very similar guy and know what to handle.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, all in all, like I am a little disappointed that we're not getting Berger down there in the 5 hole, but I do fully understand like that would be a hard spot to be in to say, hey, no, Cameron, we know you had the highest finish for any rookie pitcher in the AL Rookie of the Year race, but I'm gonna go back to Omaha just because of your spring. It's a hard spot to be in.
Berger spring started very well, but it didn't finish that great either. And
much like his 2025 run.
And Cameron's was improving. So I think that makes sense even from just a spring performance perspective. And one thing that David Lesky said earlier this spring that I've just been thinking about a lot when it comes to the roster this year is that opening day is a snapshot. It is not the way the roster is all year. If Berger gets fewer than 10 starts this year, I will be shocked and amazed. I mean, Cameron didn't make last year's opening day roster, and look how his season went. So we know Berger better. Craig Brown had suggested he thinks that Lwinder Avila might be the guy to come up and start first. But I think the Royals, even if the Royals see him as a future starter, I think they see him as a reliever this year.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Annie Rogers had her like final opening day roster prediction, and of course it had that rotation in there. But there was a caveat there that the Royals do have a clear multi-inning reliever coming out of the bullpen, and that in Bailey Falter. And you know what? When camp started, I didn't like that take. I didn't like that approach. I was like, you know what, Bailey Falter, he's been a starter for most of his career. He just didn't really show anything to us last year. Just move on and see if you could trade him for something, anything. But I don't know. He had that outing coming out of the bullpen. The stuff was ticking up. The approach was just a little different. And you know what? Maybe that's all it takes. Maybe he can find some value there, especially early in the season, trying to keep the workload low for some of these guys.
Yeah, I was in this. I was ready to cut him and move on, but like you said, that last relief appearance, and it's not just the results. It's like you said, it's the stuff. It's the swing and miss that he was getting. These are things that are quote unquote sticky heading into the regular season. So it gives me, it's one outing, which is the ultimate small sample, and it's spring training still, but I saw enough that I'm willing to see more from him out of the bullpen. And it's not like the Royals can't trade him in the middle of the season. If somebody says, oh man, we could really use Bailey Falter on our team now, like, maybe you can actually get a really good deal for him in the middle of the season when the Dodgers sit there and go, holy crap, our pitching staff is decimated again. Give us Bailey Falter, and maybe you can actually get a good prospect for him. Whereas if you traded him now, you're getting a lottery ticket at best.
So the Dodgers thing you brought up just made me think of this. So this is a rabbit trail. If you are wondering what the Dodgers are doing with their starting pitching, it is the new idea of having your guys peak late. So I don't know of how many of their starting pitchers are going to eclipse 150 innings across the entire season, but they want their guys positioned for October, and I think that's a luxury of a top tier team, right? Like I would love the Royals to say like, okay, we want Cole Reagans, Bubic, and Waka at their best when it comes to September and October. I would love that. But at the end of the day, like you can't have, you're not going to toss Mason Black out there because the margin for error is just that small when it comes to the lineup. We will talk about the lineup a little bit in a run scoring perspective later on in the show, but I think the Royals, at least right now, are in a much better spot to handle injuries. Like let me run down these pitchers that are available in Omaha, and I think it's a stark difference from where they were at this point last year in Omaha. You got Avila, Berger, Kolek, Spence, Black, and Kudrna when they're all healthy. That is a 6-man group of, okay, I feel comfortable having him come up and start. We're not looking at yeah. We're not looking at a Rich Hill situation
is still a no for me, but
there's a reason why he was last on the list there, Jeremy. But they didn't have that luxury last year.
No,
that
Kudrna was second on the list last year.
Right, and he wasn't even on the 40-man roster. Like,
right.
I get it. Kolek's injured with the oblique stuff.
He's already
still
throwing
going
again,
on.
Though.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be on the shelf for long. So I feel comfortable about where the Royals are in starting pitching depth, especially.
That's the thing that I always think about when people are talking about, oh, the Royals can't afford such and such contract. The Royals can afford Kyle Schwarber. They can. They can't afford Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner and Christopher Sanchez and Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper. But they could afford one of them. They choose not to pay any of them. And that's what the Dodgers do is it's not that the Dodgers get Shohei Ohtani. It's that they get Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker and Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki and. So when their pitchers get hurt, they just have depth. When they sign Tanner Scott to a big deal and he blows up, they sign Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, precisely. Like that's just the reality of where these two organizations are at. And you know what? Rogers is kind of I listened to Amy Rogers on Vernier's Hot Stove episode from last week, and like it sounds like she has gone back and forth on this bench spot, like who is going to get this final bench spot for the Royals. And overall, it sounds like it's really coming down to Michael Massey. Like I don't think Massey's going to be ready for opening day.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
The team is down in Texas right now. They're doing their Six Flags stuff. They're going to play 2 games against the Rangers on Monday and Tuesday. Massey's still in Arizona, getting work in the minor league backfields.
Yeah,
just trying to show that he could run. I think he will have a short stay on the IL because thankfully she clarified that apparently teams can backdate the IL stints to start off the year back to Sunday today. So like even if he started the year on the IL, you're only missing him for a handful of games overall. So I think that Massey is going to start the year on the IL.
And I had been of the opinion that the Royals were looking at Lofton and Tolbert for that final spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just keep them both. I know they were talking on the broadcast yesterday that maybe Drew Waters sneaks in now. There's just no reason. There's no reason to do that.
No, and you know what? Rogers had Drew Waters sneaking in the outfield in her latest prediction.
I get the desire for the inventory. You've already got 5 outfielders that need playing time. And you've got the designated hitter spot is covered up by Salvador Perez, Carter Jensen, and Vinnie Pasquantino. So there's just nowhere for him to play. He doesn't offer enough. He's been horrible defensively in spring training. And you could talk about the high sky and everything, but he was bad in every which direction. And he was worse than everybody else. I would love for Drew Waters to get a chance with another team and for him to find success. I do not need him on the Kansas City Royals roster this year.
No, and we have sung the praises of JJ Picollo over the past few years, rightfully so. I think that carrying Drew Waters on this team is a grave mistake, one that is more akin to something that we'd see from Dayton Moore, right? Betting on the former top prospect reclaiming something in his last chance.
And there's something to be said for keeping inventory, but Nick Lofton and Tyler Tolbert each of them offer much more than Drew Waters to your potential to win a game right now in terms of positional flexibility, in terms of offensive capability, honestly, and in terms of base running.
Mm-hmm.
They're better all around players than Drew Waters is.
It's just not a transactional approach. And like that's something that we haven't had to worry about for a while because it's felt like the Royals have been fairly transactional. But saying that moving on from Drew Waters is going to be, come down to the wire and be a tough decision. The writing's been on the wall for a long time, it feels like, Jeremy.
The inventory part of it, I think, does make that true. And the fact that, they've got John. I was going to say they don't have any really outfield depth in AAA, but they've got John Rave offers something.
Still on the roster.
He's not any worse than Drew Waters, which is why he was on the roster and Drew Waters wasn't last year. They've got Cameron Meisner, who I think he's got some serious tools, and I think he's still got some possibility to show some juice that Drew Waters doesn't. They've got Gavin Cross is hopefully going to start in AAA or be really close to AAA, had a really good spring. So they've got some guys there. Carson Roccaforte probably starts the year in AA, but I don't think he's far away. Yeah, you don't need that inventory either.
No, absolutely not. So we'll see what they don't have to have the final rosters out till Wednesday, right? We got a few days before we finally get an answer to this question. And I'm sure a lot of it rides on if Massey is available or not, because then that takes the bench spots down from 1 to 2 that are feasibly available. The other one's taken up by, Marte and Thomas. You got a bevy of folks competing for those final 2 spots if Massey's not available. So make sure you keep an eye on RoyalsReview.com. We'll have the latest on rumors or updates in that area specifically, because that's the only camp drama that I'm really tracking right now.
I would take Luca Tresh over Drew Waters.
Man, he's had a good
spring break home run champion.
Yeah, man, he has had a very good spring. Very good spring. And you know what?
He's the one who really took advantage of Sal not being in camp.
Yep, he did. He did. That was the guy who stepped up.
He looks like a major league catcher now in a way that I don't think people took him seriously even as a major league backup catcher, and I think they probably do now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's at the right spot that if he is going to contribute at the major league level, well, he has the experience and the physical maturation that this would be his time. I love that he would be the Royals' third catcher right now. I absolutely love that. That just shows where the position's at.
The Elias Diaz had a pretty good spring too.
You did. I don't know. Diaz had that one really good season for the Rockies, and it's kind of been meh.
But as a third catcher, that power potential I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it either, especially with those fences coming in.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of the lineup, we are going to pivot back to some things that we heard over the last week. So
should we tease that and take a break and then do it?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a break real quick. Gotta get those commercial breaks in. Stay tuned, folks.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA is heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Welcome back to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. All right, Jeremy, so you brought this to my attention, and it was not just one, but it was two. It was two notable MLB voices coming at it saying the Royals could have a top 10 lineup or are due for one, even in the way that Eno Saris of The Athletic put it.
Yeah.
Well, reading that off the jump, I'm just like, I want us to have a top 20 lineup like that. I would be a happy man with that. But I don't know if you believe in the momentum, and if you look at the sum of the parts, it's not as crazy as it sounds, Jeremy.
Yeah, so Soren Petro had Jeff Passan on his show last week, I think it was, and Passan said they could be a top 10 team, top 10 offense team, and then he and Lesky talked about it in the latest episode of Coughlin Corner, second latest as you're listening to this, because they'll have recorded after us tonight.
Yeah.
And they talked about it, and we're like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. And then Eno Saris had a predictions article in The Athletic, and he said the Royals will have a top 10 offense. And Passan is a national guy. He's from local. He used to be a beat writer in the Star for the Royals. I always forget that for some reason. Like, I knew he's from the Kansas City area, but I forgot that he kind of got his start there. But he's a national guy, and he's well respected. He's one of the biggest names in baseball writing. So I listen when he says that, but also his language was kind of, like, could be. I think it might be. It was not a definite. But then Eno Saris, also one of the biggest names in sabermetrics, in projections, says they will have a top 10. And when you put both of those together, my brain starts churning and I start going, could they? That sounds promising. So I wanted to do a little thing with Jacob here today where I wanted to go through the lineup and say, okay, how much has to go right for the Royals to have a top 10 offense? A little kind of unscientific way of doing it, but I've pulled up the ZiPS projections, and I kind of want to go through the who we expect to be the primary guys and be like, does that sound good? Should they be better than that? Do we think they'll probably be worse than that? and then, figure out, does that sound like a really good lineup, and how much more needs to go right to actually pull that off?
All right, let's do it.
All right, so Bobby Witt Jr., according to the ZiPS projections, is set for a 127 WRC plus, 6.1 WAR, 27 home runs. You think that's about right? It should be better, or it should be lower?
I think it should be better.
Yeah, me too.
Frankly, it's, we want to talk about, well, Bobby's 2024 doesn't need to be the expectation. If you really want the Royals to look like a 90-win team, you need more 24 Bobby than you had 25 Bobby.
Even 25 Bobby was an 8 WAR guy.
Yeah.
The home run power wasn't necessarily there, but I still think that he suffered. I think he especially suffered from trying to carry the offense at times because no one else was doing their jobs. And I think other people are going to be doing their jobs better this year. So I think the power is going to show up again. This won't count as a bold prediction, but I would bet on another 30-30 season from him this year.
I like it.
And if he's going to do more 30-30s, he's going to need to do them soon, because I don't know how much longer he's stealing 30 bases.
Yeah.
Not because he's not fast enough, but because at some point you got to stop stealing the bases so you can conserve your energy for the other things you're doing.
Yes.
All right. So Maikel Garcia, let me pull up last year's numbers as we're doing this. Also, last year had a 121 WRC plus, 16 home runs, 5.6 WAR. He is projected for a 97 WRC plus, 11 home runs, 3.2 WAR. Is that about right? Or it should be better? Or should be worse?
From a top 10 lineup perspective, I think you need to have better there.
But
because
what do you think he will be?
I think he's going to be a 4.5 FWAR guy.
You think he's going to be his average over 100, right? WRC plus over 100,
yeah.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would put it about 105. Like, he's not going to be lighting up the league. He's not going to be contending for the Silver Slugger at third base, probably utility again. But he's going to be a little bit better, and I think he needs to be better if the Royals are leading him off.
As long as Jose Ramirez is around, no one else is winning the Silver Slugger at third in the AL. All right, so the next guy I've got here is Carter Jensen. 97 WRC plus, 17 home runs, 3.0 WAR. What do you think? Is that about right? Or he's probably better than that, or he's probably worse than that?
3.0. I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't think he's going to get 3.0 off the jump. Like,
that's giving him a lot of credit for his defense, I think.
It is.
Because his offense is a little bit under average there, right? At 97 WRC plus. So I agree with you. I think the WAR is a little high, but the power, 17 home runs, seems pretty reasonable for him.
It does.
97 WRC plus feels maybe a little low, but not a lot.
It does.
So I'd say that's probably about right.
Yeah, I would put him about 101. I think the strikeouts. I think he's going to start suffering some strikeouts, and he will have to have a learning process at the major league level. Is he still my favorite for AL Rookie of the Year? Yeah, heading into opening day, he is. But I think that there are going to be some growing pains.
All right, Salvador Perez, 95 WRC plus, 24 home runs, 1.8 WAR. What do you think? Does that sound about right, or does it needs to be higher or lower?
That does sound about right on the WRC plus. The WAR, I think, is a little high.
He's getting a benefit from defense there.
Yeah,
he threw out so many runners last year.
He did.
The framing should be less important this year.
Should.
So I'm gonna say like a 1.5 probably seems about right for him. So maybe a little bit worse, but not much. And 24 home runs sounds about right, I think. 95 WRC plus might be a little high for him, but not much. I wouldn't think he'd be lower than an 85.
No. Think about it like this, folks. For all the things that Salvi did last year, 30 home runs, 100 RBI, whole shebang, he still ended up with a 95 WRC plus and a 0.5 FWAR on the entire season. So I think that like 1.3 is about the range he's going to end up in, especially if ends up across the season being the primary designated hitter.
So then Vinnie Pasquantino, projected for a 109 WRC plus, 26 home runs, 1.2 FWAR. What do you think?
What was that WRC plus again?
109.
I think, you know what? I'll say it. I think it's a little low across the board.
Yeah, I do too.
I do.
his defense is getting railed by FanGraphs. It hates his defense. The metrics all hated his defense last year, but I'm watching this guy, Jacob. I'm watching him. And people talked about Eric Hosmer's scoops. I think Pasquantino does it better than Hosmer ever did. And he does the splits better than Hosmer ever did too.
Yeah. That he does.
So I don't get why the defense hates him. I think he's going to walk more this year because I think he was also trying too hard last year. A rising tide lifts all ships, as the saying goes, and I think that the tide is going to rise and all these ships are going to go up a little bit, especially these guys who we know are good batters. I think they're going to show more of why they're good because I don't think they're going to have to press as hard to try and cover for the failings of the rest of the lineup. So yeah, I think another 30 home runs is perfectly reasonable. I think a 115, maybe even a 120 WRC plus with increased walks and keeps the power. And then I think the WAR goes up too. So next, I've got Kyle Isbell, who is projected for a 77 WRC plus with 6 home runs and a 1.2 FWAR in 129 games. What do you think?
I think that's about right. I always bet on Isbell like taking at least a marginal step forward at the plate. I just get disappointed every year, man.
Yeah, I think the rate stats could go up and therefore his WRC plus could go up, but I also think he's going to play fewer games. So I think he'll end up about there. Next is Jonathan India, also a 1.2 FWAR, 98 WRC plus, with 11 home runs, 10.3% walk rate. What do you think?
I like the walk rate of that. They're also projecting an inflated strikeout rate, which I'm not a super huge fan of. I do think that if Jonathan India is playing 132 games for the Royals, getting 555 plate appearances, I question what has gone wrong or right for the Royals, but I like that that would be a good spot for India after the 2025 he had 1.2 FWAR hovering around a league average bat.
He'd basically be adding to WAR from what he did last year.
Right. Exactly.
Isaac Collins, 94 WRC plus, 9 home runs, 11.6% walk rate, 1.1 FWAR. What do we think?
I think that this is not giving him enough credit on his bat or on his glove. Like I think if he finds his footing again, which we haven't seen that at all this spring, unfortunately. I think that he's going to be playing more than 119 games out there in left field. I think he's going to be closer to a 2 FWAR player than he is a 1 FWAR player. That's just me. What do you think?
I think the 1.1 is probably about right with the fears of regression. I think that I could see him doing better than that. I can't see him doing much worse than that. So I think in the name of fairness and of conservatism, one of the few areas I want to be conservative in, I will take Isaac Collins at 1.1.
Okay.
Jack Caglione, 109 WRC plus, 23 home runs, 1.1 FWAR. Is that about right? Should it be higher? Should it be lower?
I think the FWAR should be a little bit higher. I trust him taking another step forward in the outfield. From who I've spoken to, there hasn't been any concerns about his glove in right field. Like, you have to remember, folks, he made the transition in like April and May is when he started playing in the outfield. Don't you remember, like, that was the watch for a long time. We were watching the Naturals lineup releases to see when he would start lining up in the outfield. I don't know how I feel about his average being projected. They're projecting him a 254 average. I think he's going to be closer to like a 230 average guy, and makes up that difference in slugging.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
That's probably getting into the minutia.
I think I would expect Jack Caglione to be higher. I wouldn't push him all the way down to 230, 240 maybe, but I think there's a lot more slug in there. I think if he does hit 254, he's going to have a lot more than 23 home runs.
Agreed.
So I would say he's higher than that.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And so we look at this, and these are all the lowest WARs on here are 1.1, right?
Yeah.
And we think most of these guys are probably better than these projections. But even if you take these projections at face value, that is a significantly improved lineup over last year. Mm-hmm. And a reminder, Jacob, they were a top 10 lineup from July on last year.
They were.
So
that was an extended run.
Right.
Like, that's why it matters.
Right. And it was once they got out of that awful June spell. And that was with John Rave in the lineup a lot. That was with Adam Frazier in the lineup a lot.
Yeah.
A top 10 offense. I don't even think that's a bold prediction, honestly. I think that's a reasonable prediction to make about this team when you look at how it's constructed now. Would you like to have a Kyle Schwarber or a Kyle Tucker or I don't know, any other Kyles you can think of instead of Isaac Collins in left field? Yeah, probably. But when Isaac Collins is still so much better than NJ Melendez, Hunter Renfroe, Drew Waters, John Rave.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Something else that I completely missed, PECOTA, the baseball prospectus projection system that they got over there is not only giving the Royals a big step forward from 2025 to 2026, they're projecting them to have the best offense in the AL Central, which is not a super high bar.
But still.
Yeah.
And I mean, that makes sense.
Progress.
Who do you think? The question is, Jacob, who do you think has the second best offense in the AL Central? Who does PECOTA think and who do you think? I know who I think.
I think it's the Tigers.
Do you? I think it might be the White Sox. I look at the Kyle Teal. I look at that shortstop, Colson Montgomery. I could see it.
There is a path there, at least. I will say that. But making that jump from where they were last year to that is an even bigger jump than the Royals.
Maybe. I don't know. They've also got, don't forget they got Murakami now too.
They did. Yeah.
And if he does anything, if he strikes out all the time, like some people are afraid he's going to do, then that won't help. But if he flashes some of that power, he could make their offense better. But I think the Royals, they pretty clearly do have the best offense in the AL Central. The Tigers, I mean, I worry about Gleyber Torres because he fell hard in the second half of last year. Don't people talk to me about Riley Green, about how good he is? I don't. He strikes out so much, Jacob.
He does.
I feel like there's a giant hole in his swing, and it's just a matter of time until teams exploit that more frequently. And I mean, if Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark are ready, then that changes things, but I don't know if they're quite ready yet.
Yeah. I don't know either. Hey, also, so shout out to Salvador Perez, who popped up in a player poll from MLB.com. They asked around who will be the best at ABS challenges. And it's not who's going to be the best at ABS challenges, but like from a batting perspective, it is about who's going to be the best catcher, who is going to be really good at challenges. Cal Raleigh led that list, but Salvador Perez down there got 7 votes, ranking 4th in the poll. So I think it's a pretty realistic standing for the veteran catcher.
He has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's been working hard at, you could talk about how his framing is still not very good, but he's been working hard at it. And when you work that hard at it, I mean, maybe the physical tools aren't there to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish, but the knowledge is there when you're going to study that hard.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, let's go ahead and get onto this burn and buy. So, folks, this is a game that I kind of kept up in my noggin. So we're trying this out for the very first time. We're going to take our last break before we get into this game, so stay tuned.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic Global Gaming League video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
tuned. Welcome back to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. So burn or buy. So Jeremy and I have very different tastes when it comes to Royals jerseys we do and don't like. And, a popular game that I remember as a teenager when you're just sitting around shooting the shit was who are you going to marry? Who are you going to kill? Something like that.
And who are you going to
I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
They still play that, Jacob. They still play it.
Yeah. Oh, back in my day, we were throwing jacks and playing fuck, marry, kill.
I watch, they play it all the time on Worlds Beyond Number podcast that I listen to.
Really?
They'll pick 3 characters and be like FMK.
Well, it's a little weird to play FMK with jerseys, so I thought up something that was similar. Burn or buy.
Yeah, I can't. So, I can't any of those things with a jersey.
No, absolutely not. So I got a wheel here of some popular Royals jerseys, and what Jeremy and I are going to do, we're each going to take 4 spins, and we each have 2 burns and 2 buys. So let's see here. Let's get this pulled up right here, and I'll share the video on social media and stuff like that. But for the audio folks, we'll try to do our best to describe it. All right, Jeremy, you ready to go first?
Sure.
Let's see what we
round
got
and
here.
around she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows.
All right, looks like we got an easy one to start off with here. So this is the alternate blue uniform from the late 2000s, early 2010s. Aaron Crow is in this picture. And how do you feel about this one, Jeremy?
I mean, I dig that. I love the scrolled Royals across the front. The number on the front always kind of weirds me out a little bit, but the color's good. And I would love to say that I'm going to save all my buys for my favorite black uniforms, but I can't burn this one. This is a classic, solid uniform. I'll buy this one.
All right, so I'm going to take this one out of the wheel, and we're going to get you another spin here. Oh, Jeremy, you got it.
Yeah, this is who is this?
I forget who this is.
That's
Sorry.
loud noises.
Yeah, a lot of loud noises going on there. Sorry.
Who's modeling our Royals black 2003 to 2006 uniform?
Shoot, I didn't have the name written down for this one. I'm sorry.
Well, it's number 21. Somebody in the comments.
A pitcher.
Let me know. A pitcher.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite uniform. I'm buying it. There's no question. I can't remember if I've told this story. I'm sure I have, but it's been a while, so I'll tell it again. That I worked really hard to convince my dad to buy me a black Royals cap, because that was just all I ever wanted in life once the Royals added those black alternates. And he didn't do it. Didn't get around to it till the Royals discontinued the uniforms, couldn't buy them anymore. But a couple of years ago, one of my friends was like, you can find caps like that online still, even if they're discontinued for the team. And I Googled around, and finally, like, it took a while. There were a lot of caps that were like, it's a black Royals cap, and it was just some like made up thing, not the real deal. And I finally found one that was the real deal, and picked it up, and I've been happily wearing it ever since.
All right. Well, so that I found the name for it. It's DJ Carrasco.
DJ Carrasco. He was a Rule 5 guy, I believe. Thought he was going to be a closer.
Alas, here we are. All right. So you got 2 more spins. These are your burns, Jeremy. You ain't buying these.
That's all right. It's the black alternate away uniform.
Black sleeves and the gray vest.
So I love that the sleeves and the vest part of the uniform are different colors. I just love that contrast. It's something I actually put on my MLB The Show Diamond Dynasty team this year. I don't know. There's something that really strikes me about having different colored sleeves from the rest of the uniform. And yeah, I love that uniform, but I will burn it in order to keep the home black alternate.
All right, last spin here, Jeremy. Oh, that was I was landing on an easy burn.
Too close. That was too close.
I would agree with this burn. Let me double check, see if I can get the right date on this one. This was another 2000s alternate when they were experimenting with bringing back the powder blue, but they had like the royal blue Royals scroll. And I don't like that, man.
No, I also hate that. And then they've got a white number. It's like, what? This is too much happening on this uniform right now. And the royal blue and the powder blue clash really hard. So I'm perfectly happy to burn that uniform.
Excellent. All right.
I'm glad I didn't get the one that we almost got. I would have been sad if I had to burn that one.
Oh no, I would have been so happy. Man. All right, so this one is the current just white normal Royals home uniform with Jonathan India here is modeling it. I would, you know what, I'm going to take my chances. I would actually say I would burn this one. I'm not a super huge fan of white jerseys, especially wearing them myself, because you know I'm not wearing them to slide into second base. I'm wearing them while I'm eating a hot dog or something.
Exactly. When you get a white uniform dirty with dirt, that looks cool. When you get it dirty with ketchup, it looks like you're a slob. And I don't F with white clothes.
Me neither. All right. I got 2 buys and a burn left on my ticker. Oh man. All right. So I forget how to describe this one.
It's a royal blue uniform. It's Giordano Ventura is modeling it. Yeah. So it's from the teens. And it's got the white piping down the middle, and then just the block KC on the over the breast.
Yeah. I would buy this one. This is one of my favorites personally. I thought it was, a little different. It was a big departure from just having Kansas City or Royals across the front. And I really liked the piping of it.
Gosh, see, I hate the piping. I would
really
this just because of the piping.
There you go.
And that's one of the things that drove me nuts in the World Baseball Classic is almost every home team uniform was the same except for the colors, and it had that piping, and I hated it.
I don't blame you. It's not for everyone, but I really liked it. So I got 1 burn and 1 buy left.
You can't burn this, Jacob.
I can't, but I will. I will, because you know what?
You're fired.
I did not like the gold. I did not like the gold.
So these were the Friday home alternates for a couple of years after the Royals won the championship in 2015. Where it's whites, it's the regular whites, but then the numbers are gold on the front and back, I believe. I can't remember if the back names were gold.
No, I don't think so, but I can't remember for sure. This is a picture of Brett Phillips, and these had a pretty long run. Unfortunately, they ran mostly through some really bad years for the Royals from 2017 to 2021.
But it was cool. It was so cool to have that reminder of the championship that they were like, because I think they started off, they were just going to have these as spring training alternates. And then they were like, no, everyone really likes these. We're gonna make them the Friday home alternates. And then of course, they started doing the whole the City Connects.
Yeah.
Which we're due for new City Connects in Kansas City this year. So I can't believe you burned those. Those are some of my favorite unis.
Yeah, just wasn't my favorite. All right, let's see what the last one here is. I got to buy this one.
Come on. Oh, I'm not gonna get it.
Nope, not gonna quite get it. All right, this one I would assuredly buy in the real world scenario. The current powder blue uniforms, I just think they're really clean. I think this is the right use of the royal blue with the powder blue as an accent color rather than such a dominant color across the chest. And the scroll royals across the chest is classic for Kansas City.
I love the powder blue with the white pants. I think that's a really good pairing. I know there are a lot of people out there that get real mad. They're like all powder blue or nothing. And I think those people are crazy. I think if you go all powder blue, it looks like you're wearing pajamas.
So the one that Jeremy kept on referring to that was spinning around the wheel was what was that one, like Jump to the Future or something like that?
2000, early 2000s, they had a Jump to the Future game that was like tank top, yellow, banana yellow uniforms, and then the gold helmets and the white pants. I think that's Jeff King wearing that there. And
Turn Ahead the Clock is what it was called.
And he's got a powder blue undershirt, it looks like, but I know Johnny Damon didn't wear an undershirt under his, so you can see all of his glorious armpit hair. To be clear, that's a joke, not me sexualizing armpit hair for serious. Okay. I love it. I love, like, just make a bold choice. I think a bold choice is more fun. And that's why I get the whites, the grays, the powder blues. Those have been done for a century. I'm bored with those. Give me bold choices and I get happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, that was that was fun. I think I didn't include all of the uniforms in that, so I think we'll have to do another round of that, Jeremy. If there are any of your favorite jerseys that we burned or bought or didn't talk about, please drop us a line and we'll talk about them.
Turn Ahead the Clock had to be 98 or 99 because Jeff King was gone by 2000.
Yeah, it was 99 is when they did it.
Man, Jeff King is a king to me.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Jeff King's story?
No, I'm not.
All right. No. Jeff King hated baseball.
Really?
But he was really good at it. So he played it to make money. And the moment he hit the 10-year service time fully vested into the pension and everything, he retired.
Love that.
Middle of the season, he's just like, I'm done. I'm out. Shocked. And that was only my second year of Royals fandom in 99. Completely shocked the heck out of me. And then he disappeared. I never heard about Jeff King ever again. But he had a tremendous mustache. He was a slugging first baseman. Came over in the trade of the Jeffs. I don't know if he was with the Pirates. Came over with, I think he came over with Jay Bell. Excuse me, and I think there was one more Jeff. And the Royals traded a Jeff or two along with Joe Randa to the Pirates to get him and Jay Bell. Just so many Jeffs in that trade, at least 3. And so Jeff King, I was very upset when he retired because I was like, we need you to power our lineup, buddy. But as an adult who doesn't want to do my job, I respect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I ever have the opportunity to retire knowing that my life is set, I will do it immediately.
Yeah, I think that's just about having your priorities right. So, all right, Jeremy, you ready to get on to some reviews?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I got a quick review today. So if you have a Kindle, right, Amazon has a tool to where you can send like web pages to Kindles, which I absolutely love. You know, I don't have a whole lot of time to sit down at the computer and read, so usually what I'll do is I'll pull up Medium articles and send them over to my Kindle, and I'll read them while I'm on the ship and stuff like that. One website that I always send whenever they post to my Kindle is the Driveline Baseball blog. A lot of very good number-centric research over there, but it's not just strictly research. You're also hearing from some of these players about their process, which is, something you don't really get a whole lot of. But most of the writing's done by Travis Sawchik, who has bylines everywhere, so it's good work. So if you are wanting to learn a little bit more about some of these leading edge things regarding baseball, biomechanics and why pitchers are doing what nowadays, you could probably find an answer on the Driveline Baseball blog. Jeremy, over to you.
So I've done this one before, but I'm going to do it again. So as you all know, we had technical difficulties recording the second to last, or our latest episode from Thursday. We did it yesterday, and I gave you my review of War Machine. And then, as I pointed out to Jacob, after just minutes after we finished recording, the Cinema Wins channel on YouTube, also on Nebula, which you should just go to Nebula. I have a Nebula subscription. I watch it on YouTube because I'm lazy and I have my playlist set up there, but you should just do Nebula. It's better. The Cinema Wins did an Everything Great About, War Machine. He really liked that movie. So I watched his video, and I don't agree with everything he said, but he did point out, I think rightly, that the special effects and some of the design choices and the fight scenes and some of the cinematography were all actually pretty good in that movie in ways that I wasn't giving them credit. I will still argue that the story is bad and goes off in directions that are unfulfilling and doesn't follow through in reasonable ways. But I have to admit that the cinematography and the action and the set and creature design was better than I hadn't mentioned that those things were high quality, and they are. And of course, he pointed out Alan Ritchson really acted the heck out of that movie, and I did point that out. So I'll just agree with that again, that Alan Ritchson can act. You just got to give him better lines than ones they gave him. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's why he succeeded in Reacher. You know, like that was good material.
I still haven't seen that. I need to watch it.
It's really good. You would like it. They also have Cross now.
I wasn't sure I would like it, but the more I see Alan Ritchson, I've seen him now in War Machine. I've seen him in Fast X. And I saw him in some stupid Amazon movie with Kevin James, Playdate, I think it was called.
I think so, yeah.
Two of those movies were awful. One of them was not good. And he was still fantastic in all three. So I need to go back and actually watch Reacher, because I bet it will be good as a TV show led by him that really focuses even more on his acting, and the writing can't be as bad as Playdate. It just can't be.
No, it really can't. Yeah, shout out to, like, my first introduction to him was all the way back in the 2000s when he was in Smallville. He played that franchise's version of Aquaman.
Oh,
yeah. So he's been around for a minute. And of course, I just shouted it out last time. Blue Mountain State. If you really need to, like, get a palate cleanser on him as an actor, go watch Blue Mountain State and then just see how he is now. Very different guy.
All
right. Well, folks, that was going to do it for today's edition of the Royals Rundown Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, it's a Sunday afternoon. We are so excited that opening day is this week. We'll finally have, the next one counts. Cole Reagan put it best after his latest outing in Cactus League action. So a lot to be excited about, guys, and we just really want you to be along for the ride. So make sure you follow or subscribe wherever you're listening at, and just make sure you never miss another episode from us. But I'm Jacob Milham, they're Jeremy Greco. Until next time, go Royals.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic global gaming league video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
Has the news been getting you down? I'm Megan McCardle, and I'm here to help. I'm the host of a news show from Washington Post Opinion called Reasonably Optimistic, and it's an antidote to the pessimism that's riddling America right now. Every Wednesday, I'm going to talk to people who see a path forward.
It does seem to me that there is some awakening of a desire to act together, to solve problems where they are.
I am a believer in America, and it's worth fighting for.
Join me Wednesdays on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, homeschoolers, listen close. What if your curriculum could be beautiful, simple, and fun for your whole family? That's exactly what you'll get with The Good and the Beautiful. Solid academics that strengthen young minds while building character. And now's the time to stock up. Save 15% on everything during the early bird sale. Plus, get free shipping when you buy 5 or more books from our bookshop, only through March 17th. So fill your cart with language arts, math, science, history, and more. Visit goodandbeautiful.com and use discount code SPRING26 during checkout.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
If letters, numbers, and story time are part of your daily rhythm, don't miss the early bird sale happening now at The Good and the Beautiful. Save 15% on curriculum, learning games, and fun activities for preschool and up. Plus, get free shipping when you add 5 or more clean, wholesome bookshop books to your cart. Encourage strong reading skills, learn math with confidence, and explore our world with wonder. Visit goodandbeautiful.com and use discount code SPRING26 now through March 17th.